In this video we're gonna be benchmarking 4 graphics cards in Sekiro, Shadow Die Twice. We're gonna be testing in both 4K and in 1080p on this budget-friendly Ryzen 2400 system coming up. Hey, how is it going, guys? My name is Robin, glad you made it here. I test graphics cards and gaming peripherals. We got 4 graphics cards, as I said, and a budget-friendly Ryzen 2400G system, slightly overclocked to 3.9 GHz, and we got 8 gigs of RAM clocked at 3000 MHz. We got the GTX 970, the 1060, the 1060 6GB, the 1660 Ti, and the RTX 2060. We got the latest NVIDIA driver, which is the 419.35 as of posting this video. Now, at any time during the video, feel free to check out the links and additional information of each card down below. Now, I should say, guys, that I am currently on the hunt for a couple of AMD cards for future testing. Nevertheless, I will give you an estimate benchmark number, what you can expect from AMD cards by the end of this video as well. Now, have you played this game yet? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm laughing because I'm stuck already and I haven't played that much. Anyway, before we jump into the numbers, there are a few important things here regarding the game and how it runs that you need to be aware of. So the game has a frame cap of 60 FPS, and so far there is no way to get around it. The PS4 Pro and Xbox One X is maxing out at around 30-40 frames per second, as seen from the graphics analyst video from Digital Foundry. I'll link the video up down below if you wanna check that out. And so on PC you can go as high as 60 FPS, but unfortunately you can't go beyond that. Honestly, I think this sucks. It is how it is for the time being, at least. The game is, however, not that demanding in terms of hardware, and although there are a few graphics options missing in my opinion, you can turn off things like motion blur and depth of field, which is always nice. Now, since this game is not awfully demanding, 4K is gonna be possible for many out there, and I'm happy to report that the game looks fantastic in 4K and textures are very crisp, anti-aliasing is quite frankly pretty alright as well. Anyway, the game has 4 presets. We got low, medium, high and max. I decided to run benchmarks in 3 of them, medium, high and max. Now, since the game is not very demanding, there is no point of going below that. Now, at 1080p maxed out, every card manages to hold an average frame rate of 60 FPS, though a few spikes on the frame time were seen on the GTX 970, but for the most part it was a silky smooth experience. And generally speaking, if you're sitting on an older graphics card from either AMD or NVIDIA, you should still be able to run at pretty high graphics settings and get close to 60 FPS. Now, looking at the gameplay here, guys, running max graphics at 1080p, you can see how the 970 is not even fully utilized, which tells us that older, worse performing cards should be fine here as well, even at higher graphics. The CPU doesn't seem to bottleneck the system too much, and in terms of VRAM, well, it seems like 3 to 4 GB is definitely enough for 1080p, and in terms of RAM, 8 GB is definitely enough. I should say that there is an option where you can let the game simplify the rendering process when the performance drops. This option, however, has been turned off throughout the whole testing process. Now, bumping up the 4K medium settings, only the 1660 Ti and the 2060 were able to achieve an acceptable frame rate. The 970 were struggling a lot, as you can see, and on top of that, the frame pace was very inconsistent, which made the whole experience feel a lot laggier than what the numbers were saying. 4 GB of VRAM seems to be the problem here, as the 1060 ran a lot smoother, even though it didn't quite manage to deliver an experience worth targeting. With almost 50 FPS average on the RTX 2060, it was definitely playable, and with some overclocking, you should be able to near the 60 FPS golden mark here. The 2060 performs similar to a EVGA 56 according to other benchmarks on the internet, should be added. Jumping over to 4K maxed out, none of the cards were able to deliver a smooth experience, to no surprise perhaps. What's interesting here was that I noticed that the game maxed out the 4 GB VRAM limit on the 970 pretty quickly, and it went close to 5 GB VRAM usage on the rest of the 6 GB cards. Now, it is unclear if the the game is actually using everything that is being reported from the software, or if the game is just allocating memory. I wouldn't however recommend playing at 4K with less than 6GB VRAM, just in case, as the game seems to be a bit inconsistent when it comes to frame pacing at times. It could also be the Ryzen 2400G processor that simply isn't fast enough. It's hard to tell here what's causing the random spikes that we're seeing with the 970 card. Another possibility could be the lack of fast video memory, as the 970 only has 3.5GB of fast VRAM. So to try and summary the performance experience so far, and so what we can say is that although this budget system doesn't reach 4K at max quality, it is still a possibility, which wouldn't be possible in games such as Metro Exodus and Battlefield 5. Many gamers should be able to enjoy this game without any major frame drops, which is very nice to see. That being said, pairing up a pretty advanced and expensive graphics card such as the RTX 2060 with a cheap CPU such as the Ryzen 2400G and only 8GB of RAM isn't typically the best idea, as the CPU can drag down the frame rate quite a lot many times, even at higher graphics settings. We have seen plenty of games being bottlenecked of the Ryzen 2400G in the past. As always guys, I would love to hear your performance numbers as well. Now what about AMD cards, and what numbers can you expect here? Well, since I was unable to test AMD cards this time, I've been looking at benchmarks on the internet, and judging from other benchmark numbers, an RX 580 with 8GB of VRAM will perform right about the same as a GTX 1060 6GB card. The RX 480 and a 570 will perform similar to a GTX 970, and again a EVGA 56 is scoring about the same as an RTX 2060 in this game. Now for more information about specific cards I've been using for this testing, have a look down in the description. One thing is for sure, this is a difficult game, and calling it unforgiving would be pretty accurate. I want to know how far you made it so far into the story, but please leave the spoilers out. Honestly, I made it to the first boss fight using a keyboard and mouse, which I'm not 100% sold on, so I think I'm gonna have to try a controller instead. Again, for more PC what parts I've been testing here, you find all that good stuff down below. I'm gonna be back with a brand new video in just a day or two. Until then, have an awesome day, alright?